So we will start again. This is definitely Design Thinking a Primer live session. And all of you learners who are logged in, as well as people who are watching, are all going to be watching for Design Thinking a Primer. Sham will showcase the exam questions, sample questions, sample cases very soon. Some questions, definitely we will show that. For tech forecasting, we don't do that. For design thinking, we certainly do that. And A. Shashank, a learner called A. Shashank, you're absolutely right. Uh, Empathize, analyze, solve, and test are the four stages. And the questions, the pattern of the paper is going to be very similar. We will have first half based on uh, the objectives, that is questions based on the video, on the book Karmic Design Thinking, and the second half is going to be on cases, which means you will have a case or multiple cases and there will be multiple questions. The format of the questions is going to be very similar to what I described for technology forecasting as well. So that is multiple choice questions, multi-select questions. Multiple choice will have one right answer. Multiple select will have multiple right answers. You get, let's say there are two right answers, and you get both right. Of course, you get 1 point for the 1 mark for that. If you get one right but you don't pick the other option, then you get partial marks. If you get one right and one wrong, you don't get any marks for that. So okay, so this is the multiple select pattern. For cases, you will have a common case written and some questions following that. You will have to answer them as well. The uh, tips are identical also. You will have to go through the uh, transcripts if you don't have the time, or you can feed it to a large language model or a notebook LM, Google's product, if you would like, and upload these PDFs and make the large language model a coach, a design thinking coach, and they can ask you questions and you can answer them, try to recall, make that interactive. You can do that, or do it the old fashioned way. Go through your notes that you've made based on the videos that you've seen on on the content on the web on NPTEL, and you should be good for the exam. Okay, and the marks are identical. 25% weightage for the assignments and 75% weightage for the exam. um, Absolutely the same passing criteria also. 10 on 25 is the basic minimum qualification for the assignments, and 30 on 75 out of 75 will be for the final exam. And put it all together, you should have at least 40 out of 100 to get a certificate. And 90 minutes on, that is 1.5 hours later, is when the submit button turns on, and you can submit all your answers by then. From our past experience, learners have told us that typically it's taken us them about 2 hours to finish the exam, and do well also is the typical time that they've taken. So be ready for at least 2 hours for sitting there. Uh, if you finish earlier than that, great, you're a smart student, but just make sure you've got it right. Just because you're fast doesn't mean you've got them all right. Just go through it and see if you've got them all right. Okay, so those are the tips that I have. Yes, Sham is here with the presentation. Go ahead, Sham.
Okay, we will cover this part one more time. Uh, the type of MCQs are both concept based as well as application based. Application based in the sense where you will be provided a caselet and the MCQs will follow based on that case. We'll take a look at one such question here. It is for the learners to answer. We will be presenting the case first for around 2 minutes. Please read it carefully. And then two questions will follow. You'll have 1 minute to answer each of the questions. You may either unmute and answer the questions or post the option in the chat window here. All right, I'll now move on to the first question. Okay, answers are there, it seems. Just a minute.
Yeah. So, typical case is what you saw. You will be given a case like this, maybe 2 to 3 sentences long, and based on that case, read it carefully and see what you have to do. Many times we will ask you to think like a design thinking consultant, design thinking practitioner, which means that you have to apply the concepts of design thinking. So, the first half of the first half of the exam is about objective and recall. The second half is going to be based on cases like this. Back to you, Sham.
So, yeah, here is the first question. Are we getting any response in the chat? Or would any learner want to
Empathy,
answer?
customer observation, sir. Empathize.
Okay. Any other learner would want to answer? Any other option you think is right?
Aprameya says B.
Okay. Fine. We will check the right answer. Yes, B, customer conducting customer observation, which is part of empathize phase, is the correct answer for this question. Sir, would you want to elaborate as to how to go about with such questions based on the caselet?
Yes. So, keep in mind what we are trying to achieve in that particular case. That is, keep in mind that you will have to follow what a customer is going through in the first stage, and that will lead you to empathize. If you had thought from that point of view, design thinking, uncovering a customer pain point, right? So that means that we are looking at the problem not from a problem solver's perspective or a designer's perspective or a business person's perspective, but from a customer's perspective. That happens in exactly one stage in the 4 stages, which is empathize, right? In the analyze, it's our point of view, which is who is making it, as well as the user's point of view. So we'll have sometimes a conflict, sometimes a reasoning, all of that in the analyze. And when we're generating ideas, again, this is not from a customer point of view, but we're looking at from the problem point of view, is the solve. And when we are back to making things with our hands, with a computer, we're making it so that we can go back to the user. That's what we do in test, right? So we can take a prototype and go back to the user. We're readying ourselves to do that. That's in test. So look out for words like these, which give you a hint on what stage, what we are doing. So that's what we are looking for, really. Have you really understood what happens in empathize, what really is analyzed for, what is solved for, what is test for? These are going to be very easy for you if you do know and understand what these steps are there for.
Okay. We will move on to the second question. I'll present the case study once again, and then I'll show the second question. Okay, here is the second question. What is the key advantage of building a low fidelity prototype of the new website before investing in development? A, to test server load capacity. B, to quickly test ideas and gather feedback at low cost. C, to ensure final branding elements are ready. And D, to finalize the entire product roadmap. Do we have answers on the chat window?
I see a B.
Okay.
Is that for this question also? No, 6. Yeah, I think Aprameya and LS Ashwin Bharat, both of them have said B. You quickly test ideas and gather feedback at low cost. I don't see any answers in the YouTube chat.
Oh.
Yeah, B seems to be the answer.
So here is the answer. Yes, the right answer is B, to quickly test ideas and gather feedback at low cost. That is where we actually build a low fidelity prototype using, say, like wireframes, sketches, or even digital tools. If it's a physical product, using cardboard, paper, thermocol, or so. So the advantage of building low fidelity prototype is to quickly test the ideas so that we can take it to customers immediately, gather feedback, and then iterate and refine the product before moving on to the development stage. So that is the logic behind this question. Sorry, would you want to add more to this?
Um, yes, a very nice explanation. Yes, indeed, this is to make sure that before going before design thinking. Okay, so the typical product centered approach was to keep improving the product, keep adding to some feature, something like that, without actually knowing whether this will work, this will solve a problem, this is actually doable. We keep adding more features, and without actually going to a customer, this can mean that you've been working in the wrong direction for a really long time. So post design thinking, we realized that this can actually be made shorter and can become very low in cost as well. So if we make a mistake, it's at a very early stage and we can correct them. And that's why the test comes. And after that, you can have empathize cycle 2, right? So that's why this low fidelity prototype, which means that you're making, like Shyam described it, with boxes, with wires, with simple things. You can just make something out of it and see if it actually works for your customer, for your user. If it actually, so you can test it yourself or give it to somebody who says, hey, you have this problem, try and see this, see if it works for you. Okay, suppose you wanted, I mean, this is a done and dusted idea, but still you thought that sometimes people write at night, and they're not able to, you're making notes at night and I'm not able to see what I'm writing because the screen is bright, but I really can't see what I'm writing. Maybe I'll add a light to my pen that I have here at the tip of it. Okay, so that's your idea. It's a great idea, but we don't know if it works or not, whether it can be there. So you somehow have to squeeze in a light here, and then when you're writing it, it actually eliminates this. Now, whether it's effective or not, I don't know. You will have to make it first and see if it works, right? That's so you don't have to manufacture a completely brand new pen with a light source and batteries and all of that. You can just tie one of these button cells, have a simple wire to it, and an LED sticking at with sellotape. You can just tie it and have it there. That's it. That's all you need to test out the area. You don't need expensive fixtures. You don't need 3D printing and all of those. But if you have that, well and good. But if you don't, you can just try it with a simple button cell, what, 80 rupees, and an LED, which is probably like 10-20 rupees, and a wire, not even 2 rupees. You can find it lying somewhere, connect it, and you have a prototype quickly ready with less than 100 rupees. You have a prototype ready to try on, and you try it at night and see if it actually eliminates, or is it just, oh, there's a shadow falling here, maybe the pen is getting in the way, maybe it should stick out. Now you're thinking from a customer point of view. That's empathize cycle 2 now, right? So this is what is low fidelity, but you're making mistakes or you're making improvements very very quickly, and you're learning about what the user really wants, right? The user themselves don't know that this is what they want, so you're trying to do that with a prototype. So that's the biggest advantage of doing tests, doing it quickly, doing it at a cheap lower cost, and learning from the mistakes that you make at this stage. And like Shyam said, it applies to software, it applies to hardware, it applies to services, anything at all. It doesn't matter which one it is. You can apply to anything.
Right. That's all with the sample questions. If the learner have any questions, we can take it up now.
Okay. The participants here in our Zoom chat, do you have any questions for us to answer? I don't see any questions on YouTube. You can
Uh, yeah,
unmute yourself.
in the discussion forum also, almost all of the questions have been answered. I don't see any new questions.
Okay. Aprame asked this question: will there be negative marking and how many questions? Okay, first one I can answer. Shyam, I will need your help with the second one.
Okay.
First one, no negative marking. You can answer anything you want. We are not going to take away points for bad guessing. The only tricky thing with respect to multiple select is that if there are two or three right answers in the same question, you will have to select all of the right options to get the marks, complete marks. If you've selected 2 out of 3, you get partial. You get 1 out of 3, you get partial. But if you select one and the wrong option, you do not get any points. That's the only tricky thing we have in our question paper. Apart from that, it's just you can answer whatever you want. We're not going to take away marks just because you mark something wrong. The second part of your question, I would request Shyam to answer that. How many questions do
All
we
right.
have?
We don't actually tell the number of questions,
Oh,
but
we don't. Okay.
the learners can finish it in around 90 to 120 minutes, is what we say.
Yeah,
So we'll have
that's
plenty of time left after
correct.
completing the exam.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. So statistically, we have seen that over, a good number of people finish at the 90-minute mark, the 100-minute mark, or the up to 120 minutes. That's roughly the biggest range of people that finish our exams in the past 6 years or so now. No, maybe even more than that. 8 years or so now. No, 7 years. Okay, 7 years or so now. And that's what we've observed. But yeah, we are not allowed to tell you how many questions there are and what's. We have told you what the split is. That they're going to be objectives and the case-based questions. Okay, there are no questions in YouTube, and sounds like there are no questions here either. All right. So, and yes, if there are any further questions at all after you've left the call, or you're watching on YouTube, or you're watching the recording on YouTube, and or on Swayam website or NPTEL website, and you got a question, and from now until the exam, you suddenly got a question you wanted to answer, you wanted some answer, please post it on the discussion forum. It's being patrolled by Sham and Sukrat. Both of them are very, very knowledgeable about design thinking, and they will be able to, and of course, the exam process. They've been in the NPTEL system for quite some time now. They're very experienced with that. So please do feel free to answer them. I'm sorry, please feel to ask the questions. We'll be happy to take any questions at all. If there are hall ticket related questions, please write to the support email address. And I always forget what is the support email address. Sham, can you please help me with that?
It's support at nptel.iitm.ac.in. It's given in the course page also.
Brilliant. That's as easy as it gets. So that's somebody who can help you with your hall ticket based questions. I know lots of you get a bit anxious around the exam date. Don't worry. We are there to help you. The NPTEL team is very, very supportive, very efficient. They will try to help you. Please do write to support. The content related, you can ask us on discussion forum. The three of us are there to help you with that also. All the very best. Be calm, take a lot of deep breaths before it's an exam. I mean, however experienced you are with exam taking, it's an exam. It always brings butterflies. How do I know? I have taken an NPTEL exam myself through first-hand experience. I know I've given lots of exams, but I still feel the butterflies in my stomach when I hit the exam circuit. Don't worry, just take deep, long breaths, and you should be fine, right? And carry water with you. Carry your, your Aadhaar card or whatever your identification is, and you should be good to go. All the very best, folks. All the very best, learners. Thank you so much for registering for this course. Apologies again for the first 20 minutes. Ignore that and focus on design thinking. Have fun with the methodology and let us know what your experience is. Yes, from all of us. Okay. Thanks again for NPTEL team and Shyam and Sukrat for ably
Thank you, sir.
supporting this. Thank you so much. All the best, learners. Have a good evening, everyone.